What is up, YouTube? JD Horror here. I got a special one coming at you today. This is a collaboration done by myself and Uncanny Horror. We both had a hand in writing this, and we both did the narration for it. I really hope you enjoy it, because we put a lot of good work into this. Once again, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, so if you like what you hear, head on over and show him some love. Turn off the lights, get cozy, and embrace the creepy.
My name is Lucas Canning. I was the senior editor at a major publishing company in New York City. I was the one to oversee most of our top-selling authors. Think big names like Robert Kirkman, Jonathan Mayberry, and Dean Koontz, just to name a few. A couple of months ago, I got word that one of my clients took his own life. His name is James Paul Traverse, but he was known by his pen name, J.P. Terror. We were pretty close. Lots of long nights spent drinking and finalizing his novels, but I was shocked to learn that he left everything he owned to me. Among his possessions was the manuscript for his latest novel in his Legacy series, due to be in every bookstore in North America by late September this year.
Oh, we got it done way before then, didn't we?
No, don't start. I have to get this out. He left it unfinished, but the words he had written blew my mind. It was sure to be a hit. I'm talking Stephen King in his prime numbers. Tucked in the pages of the incomplete horror masterpiece was the pen he spent $10,000 on after his first novel took off, and the money started rolling in for him. It was solid gold, perfectly balanced weight, and the smoothest ballpoint tip I've ever felt.
Best purchase I ever made in life.
Stop. He had that damn pen on him wherever he went, always taking notes, scribbling on napkins, almost constantly writing.
A lot of really messed up shit goes through my head, and I gotta get it out, what can I say?
Holy shit, you gotta let me do this. Weeks went by and I read the manuscript over and over. I couldn't put it down. The story was, his story. Written in a third-person point of view, it described all the events he had been through and how he took his inspiration from true paranormal events he had personally experienced. It detailed the way he planned to kill himself and went on about how his spirit would come back to finish the series once and for all. I thought that it was just that, a story.
It's way more than just a story. You haven't even seen the best part yet.
The thing is, a month after he died, I was working. Just another day at the publishing house. I opened my email and the most recent message was from JP. I couldn't believe my eyes. At first, I thought it was a pre-scheduled message or something to that effect. But as I read it, it seemed like he had just sent it. It read...
I totally did just send that. From your computer.
It read...
Dear Lucas, by the time you receive this email, I'll already be dead. I know what you're thinking. Yes, killing myself before finishing the book was a stupid thing to do, but it's the way it has to be to continue the series. As you know, I believe in the afterlife, and I know that my spirit will roam the earth long after I'm gone, seeking to complete my unfinished business, blah blah blah. That unfinished business is my Legacy series, and I need your help to finish it, or more accurately, I need your hands. You hold the key to my legacy, Lucas. As far back as I can remember, I've been haunted with the thoughts that invade my mind. I've seen things nobody should see, and I've heard things nobody should hear, but I have the ability to turn those thoughts into words. And as we both know, the people love those words. I must confess that my stories are 80% autobiographical. And the idea that I'm the only one holding in these horrific thoughts, it kills me inside. Which is actually why I decided to become a writer. So I want you to promise me that you will continue my work. Do not publish anything I don't approve of first. And don't worry, you won't have to write anything at all. You let me take care of that. Start editing my manuscript, which you seem to be oh so fascinated with currently. And make sure you use my pen, it's the only way this will work. Trust me when I say, Lucas, I'm right there with you. Watching you. Ugly tie, by the way. Who the hell wears a polka dot tie with a pinstripe suit? I thought you had better fashion sense than that, come on, man. Anyways, I'll see you later tonight and we'll talk about the ending. Sincerely, your all-time favorite prick of an author, JP Terror. Ciao for now.
Yes, he did sign off like that. Anyways, I was shocked as I looked down at my polka dot tie and began to loosen it from around my neck. The golden pen that I thought I had left sitting on my desk at home was now positioned meticulously on the manuscript right in front of me. And that is exactly where my nightmare began. I picked up the pen and it was as if my hand had a mind of its own.
Man, it felt so good to hold that pen again.
I opened the cover and immediately started reading the pages once again, this time jotting notes as I read on. The moment I started editing his final manuscript, I felt an eerie presence around me. The lights appeared to flicker, the curtains seemed to move on their own, and the atmosphere felt suffocating.
You should have seen your face. Priceless.
Okay, why the hell are you doing this? This isn't your story. This is my last confession. You have to stop.
Come on, Luke. Was I ever good at giving a fuck about what you told me to do or not do? I didn't bitch about all your side notes in my book, fuck.
Still an asshole, even in death. Anyways, I couldn't stop. Before I knew it, it was 6:30 p.m. Not only did I completely miss lunch, but I was the only one still left in the office. That's when I heard JP's voice in my head. Well, I thought it was in my head, praising me for the edits and notes I'd done so far, encouraging me to finish the pages he'd written so he could continue the ending. My head started to pound. I felt the compulsive need to write burning inside of me. I'd never felt that way before. I turned to a new page in the manuscript, with JP's pen grasped tightly in my hand, and began to write furiously. My hand moved like a planchette across a Ouija board. It seemed to move on its own. Or maybe JP's email was telling the truth and he was using my hands.
You know now it was definitely me using your hands, eh? I had to finish my masterpiece.
Your masterpiece killed people, you arrogant fuck. Over the next few days, it's as if I had become a puppet and JP was pulling the strings. I'd go to work, sit at my desk and write. My hands wrote words that were beyond anything I could write on my own. The Legacy series was coming to life, and I was the vessel through which it was being channeled.
Good, Lucas. Very, very good.
A voice seemed to echo in my mind. JP's voice.
This is exactly how I envisioned it.
But as each day passed, the toll it was taking on me grew. I could feel the energy being drained from my body, the sadistic force willing me to do its bidding, singularly focused on completing the story. My creativity was sapped, my once vibrant, happy life consumed by the ghost of my former client. He was determined to finish his work, come hell or high water. Maybe hell had already come. I was trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. And the worst part? I couldn't tell anyone about it or I'd look crazy.
Don't you see, Lucas? This is your destiny. This is our destiny.
JP's voice rang in my ears, chilling me to the bone. Then one night, as I sat alone in my apartment hunched over the manuscript, a chilling thought crossed my mind. It was a way out, a desperate plan, but desperation was all I had left.
Your plan was idiotic. You didn't have the balls to go through with it. You never will. We're finishing this, Lucas. It needs to be finished.
I can't be responsible for the death of more innocent people. I won't. As I was saying, if JP needed my hands to write, he wouldn't be able to finish his series without them.
No.
His voice in my head screamed.
You can't do that, Lucas.
It was a horrifying thought. The gruesome idea turned my stomach, but the alternative was to become a shell, a husk of my former self, trapped in this ghostly servitude. My hands started shaking, and I set the golden pen down.
You wouldn't dare.
JP's voice hissed in my mind. I looked at my hands, these tools that served me so well throughout my entire life, and were now betraying me. It was a morbid realization, but one I had to face, so I made a plan.
Your plan failed. Enough of this shit. We have work to do.
Just let me finish this, then I'll do whatever you want. I knew a surgeon, an old friend from college. I called him up and told him that I urgently needed to speak with him in person. We agreed to meet at his private clinic after hours.
You don't want to do this, Lucas.
JP's voice pleaded, but I ignored him. When I arrived, I was shaking. Every cell in my body was telling me to run away, but I knew there was no other way. My friend was shocked at the state I was in, but his reaction was even worse when I told him my horrible idea. At first, he thought I must have been joking, but as he looked into my eyes, he could see my desperation.
What? What are you talking about? I can't do that, Lucas. Have you lost your mind?
He said, voice filled with outrage and concern.
Look, I can't just amputate your hands. It's unethical, not to mention illegal. I could lose my practice. Hell, I could lose my license to practice medicine.
You don't understand, I pleaded with him. I don't have a choice. I can't go on like this. If you won't do it for me, then I'll have to find another way to do it. At least this way, it's medically supervised. We argued for a long time, but ultimately he refused, not willing to risk his license to practice medicine. I got home and collapsed on my couch, falling asleep almost instantly. I woke up hours later, sitting at my desk, staring at the completed manuscript.
I work a lot faster when I have complete control. And what did I tell you to do, Lucas?
Publish it.
I said fucking publish it! Get to the good part!
The day I sent in the final draft and marketing announced the release, the book had over
50 million fucking pre-orders, baby!
It had 120,000 pre-orders, and almost that many deaths in the first month. Admittedly, the book is amazing. It's a novel that doesn't just pull you in, it makes you the main character. You feel every emotion. Your heart breaks. You feel the pain and live the trauma. You see things no one should ever see, and hear things that no one should ever hear. You read it as if it's narrating your whole fucking life, word for word. When you finally finish the book, there's only one thing on your mind. How am I going to end my life? I know this because that's how I felt. That's how even 100,000 people felt.
Because it's the best horror novel ever written. Who needs life after reading of the horrors that will plague your imagination and bury deep into the mind of the reader and consume their every thought? But there's more, Lucas. There's much, much more.
I know there is. I need to tell my story first. When news hit about the death count rising, I attempted to cut my wrists. I sat at my desk watching my vision fade to black when I heard my front door being kicked open. Days later, I found myself lying in my sterile hospital room, the white walls and harsh lights blurring my vision. I looked down at my bandaged arms. I had been saved, but how?
You're welcome for that, by the way. You didn't think I'd actually let my favorite editor die, did you?
I looked around the room with a sense of relief. I thought it was over. I really did. Days went by while laying in the hospital on close watch. I hadn't heard JP's voice inside my head at all in almost a week. I woke up yesterday morning feeling like my old self again. My clothes sat in a plastic bag on the seat across the room. I was being released, but I couldn't bear to go back to my condo, so I arranged for a bag of my personal belongings to be delivered to a hotel. I was planning to leave the city. I wanted to start over in a completely different country and try to forget about the living nightmare that my life had become.
You were so very naive to think that we were done, Lucas.
I know, JP. I know. This morning, I woke up feeling tired and I knew immediately that something was wrong. I looked around the room and there, sitting next to my laptop, something shiny caught my eye. The gold fucking pen! The room suddenly grew cold. An icy chill swept over me, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I turned my gaze to the laptop screen in horror as I watched it power on by itself. "No," I whispered, a sense of dread overwhelming me.
Yes, Lucas. Yes.
The screen flickered to life, illuminating the keyboard. The cursor blinked on a new blank document. And then words started to appear, typed out one by one.
Legacy. The final chapter. Lucas was the senior editor at a major publishing company in New York City. He didn't know it at the time, but the day he got news of his up-and-coming client's death would be the day his life changed. Forever. JD again. If you made it this far into the video, I sincerely want to thank you. I'm glad you stuck around to hear my little spiel at the end here. If you liked this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and head on over to Uncanny Horror and do all that good stuff for him as well. I hope you're all keeping safe out there. Love ya. Ciao for now.